Hello, friends! This week I watched the second season of Arcane and I absolutely loved it. I couldn't resist drawing something inspired by the show. If you haven't seen Arcane yet, I highly recommend it. The story is engaging, the characters are well written, and for me personally, the artistic side stole the show. The series uses a beautiful cel shading style that's somewhere between cartoonish and realistic. I especially loved how some elements like water and smoke add a more stylized, cartoon like look compared to the rest. I was watching it with my boyfriend, and I may have commented on how stunning the visuals were a bit too often. At one point, he even started predicting which parts I'd find interesting. If you haven't seen it yet, my rating for the artistic side is a solid 10 out of 10. Now back to this drawing. I already had a loose idea of what I wanted to create, but finding the right reference images turned into a nightmare. After spending a whole afternoon searching, I decided to rewatch some episode and take screenshots. Finally, I was ready to begin. I decided to use a vertical layout for my sketchbook to fit the composition I had in mind, but I quickly regretted it. It was so uncomfortable to work with. At times, I had to hold my breath just to get closer to the paper. My vision was to depict Jinx holding a colorful smoke grenade, the rising smoke framing portraits of V and Mel. Initially, I planned to use just watercolors and colored pencils, but I later incorporated water-based marker for colored line art in some areas. Drawing Jinx was a bit tricky. I debated whether to change her pose or keep the reference, and I really struggled with her hand that's holding the grenade. I ended up using my own hand as a reference, but I'm still not entirely happy with how it turned out. Sketching Piltover Skyline was much simpler. It was satisfying to work with such straightforward shapes. Mel's portrait is my favorite part of this piece. Her pencil sketch had a charm I was almost afraid to ruin, and drawing the golden tattoos on her face made me wish for the symmetry tool from digital art. Despite my worries, though, I think this portrait turned out the best. Looking at it makes me very happy. As for Vi, I should have taken a break before starting her portrait. I was already feeling tired, and I kept telling myself to stop, but I pushed through. Something about her face feels off, but I can't pinpoint what. If you can see what's wrong, I'd love to hear your feedback. Once the initial sketch was done, I started layering watercolors, beginning with Vi so it could dry while I worked on the rest. This time I used traditional round brushes instead of the brushes with the water tank I usually use, but I think that was a mistake. They held too much water for this sketchbook, which isn't designed for watercolors. On Jing's face, for example, the paper started reacting oddly to the excess water, and I was terrified I'd ruin it. Luckily, after letting it dry and layering some colored pencils, the problem became almost invisible. I use water-based marker for certain parts of the line art, especially in Jink's background, where I wanted definition without using black. For the smoke, I experimented with colorful swirls to add interest, though I'm still unsure if I like how it turned out or not. At least they added some vibrancy to areas that would otherwise be plain. Mel's portrait was where I realized I needed another break. I messed up on the symmetry of her eyes during the line art and had a small meltdown before deciding to pause. Still, coloring her portrait was so rewarding. I love working on darker skin tones. The contrast with highlights is much more satisfying, and I can push the shadow further by adding black without making the skin look muddy. are at the end, friends. I hope you enjoyed following this creative process as much as I enjoy bringing it to life. Every drawing is a little adventure, with its moment of satisfaction and frustration. But in the end, seeing the completed piece fills me with pride. If you like this video and want to see more content like this, I'd really love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Tell me, who's your favorite character from Arcane? Or maybe you have some tips for me on how I could improve my portraits on this page? I absolutely love reading your feedback and connecting with fellow artists. If you haven't already, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification so you won't miss future videos. I already got some ideas brewing for upcoming projects and can't wait to share them with you. And don't forget to leave a like if this video inspired you or simply kept you company. It's a small gesture, but it means the world to me. Thank you so much for spending some of your time with me today. I'm sending you a big virtual hug, and I'll see you in the next video. And until then, keep creating. Bye!